We wanted to take a moment to thank our presenting sponsor, 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're located at 9640 Olive Boulevard in Olivet, and they're open 10 to 5 Monday through Friday and 10 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. They buy, sell, and trade all sports cards and Pokemon cards, and they have the newest selections of packs, boxes, and single cards of local players and stars from around the league. Make sure you go check out 314 and let them know we sent you. Now back to our episode.
Everybody look at Kareem's face.
That kind of shocks me. I'm not
all right,
gonna lie.
Kareem, what's the pick?
Left-hand pitcher Liam Doyle.
Wow. Okay.
Cardinals fans, you want swing and miss? Here's your swing and miss.
So real fast, Kareem is the guy who thought 1 year ago we were all pulling for Jamie Arnold. What are your thoughts about Liam Doyle being selected by the St. Louis Cardinals before Liam Doyle being selected before Arnold?
I had Liam Doyle higher on my draft board, but I just didn't see the Cardinals picking him, to be honest. I don't think he fits the trends that they, typically covet in terms of the starting pitchers that they draft. But I mean, I might be a little bit shocked, but it's the good kind of shocked, I would say. We're getting someone that has some of the best swing and miss upside in the whole class. Fastball is plus. I think you could argue it's the best fastball in the class, aside from maybe a Gage Wood. I think his splitter is plus as well. Besides those two offerings, I think there needs to be some development in his other secondaries. I think the cutter has shown promise, especially at the end of the year. He also has a sweeper / curveball kind of pitch that he uses, as a called strike offering. But yeah, I mean, you want to swing for a potential ace, a guy that can generate a ton of swing and miss. I mean, this is your guy.
Yeah.
What?
Can we read the pitch specs real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, hold on. I haven't. Let me get off this train. Okay. No, I closed it for Malachi Willis.
All right, I'll talk then. Yeah. Everybody wants to hear what I have to say, so I'll talk.
Go ahead.
You guys, I don't really have a whole lot to say. I'm sorry. It was a build-up, and I ruined it. I love it. He's a psychopath, and we're going to talk about pitch mix, and that's fun, but he's kind of crazy, a little unhinged. And as somebody like myself who's a little crazy, a little unhinged, I am pro this pick in every conceivable way. He will stare at you. He will grab the ball, and he will throw it at you a little bit sometimes. He's fun is what he is. And there's a backstory that got him to this point. And, I really like it. I like the excitement. I think that this kind of tells us maybe, too, that the Cardinals organization is willing to go into a new direction a little bit, because this probably would have been Jamie Arnold. And it also says that they're not resting on their laurels with old scouting reports. And I think that that's something to take in. Like, I think that back in the day, we might have seen Arnold as this pick, or, maybe even Tyler Bremner, honestly. But this seems new. And again, we're not going to be able to assess this draft until we get through at least day one and, of course, day two. But I don't think we're going to have a real idea of exactly the direction the Cardinals are going to go in. But I do think that this is a step in a positive direction. Now, I do not think you can take every little bit from the 5th overall pick because of the nature of a 5th overall pick. But I think it's a good pick. It's an exciting pick with 2+ pitches out of the get-go, entering an organization that can do a lot with the cutter and do a lot with the gyro slider if they decide to go in that direction. So I'm on board. I love it. I'm excited about it. I'm fired up. This is where I do the one thing I do, which is temper expectations. And I remind everybody that even though Harold Reynolds is probably on the television saying Liam Doyle could be a starting pitcher tomorrow at the All-Star break, he's going to start the first game out of the All-Star break for the Cardinals. I want to remind you that Harold Reynolds is a moron, and that that's not going to happen. All of these guys still need development time. The last thing you want to do is put them on the Mike Leake track where all of a sudden they're pitching in major league games. Give him a break. He's pitched a lot of innings. That's an exciting arm. Don't put that weird kind of pressure on him.
Yeah. Let him go to the Bahamas, chill.
Yeah.
He just got out like done with college now. He doesn't have to deal with student loans. Let him chill.
Yeah.
Next year we could.
I'm sure what Liam Doyle's thinking right now is, man, I don't have to deal with those student loans anymore.
Yeah.
So Liam Doyle's thinking, I just want to go to Tijuana. Just somebody get me in Tijuana.
Do you guys want a fastball with 19.2 induced vertical break, 35% whiff percentage, a splitter with 41 whiff percentage that moves that can get to negative induced vertical break? That is Liam Doyle right there. I think he will adjust extremely well with the major league ball. Even if he doesn't, you're probably going to see a max of 17, a minimum of 17 induced vertical break, and that will play. Especially at 96. So this is the ace that we've been hoping for. This is the direction we've been wanting from the Cardinals. I think as Cardinals fans, there should be excitement. This is a surprise pick. You probably thought Jamie Arnold was just going to go here. You go with a low induced vertical break fastball with BAA, but this is a different pick. Weatherholt and Doyle back-to-back years, probably the best players available on the board back-to-back years. So, yeah, they won't ever be in this position again. I can guarantee this.
Well, it'll be interesting to see the kinds of profiles the Cardinals target in terms of their pitchers later in the draft, because this is kind of a shocker if we're just going based on what they've done in the past. It's a lot more swing and miss. There are some concerns about his ability to. At the start of the year, he wasn't maintaining his velocity deep into starts that well. The pitch mix, while I'm really bullish on the splitter, there still needs to be some developing. So, it's not as safe of a starter as someone like Cade Anderson that we talked about a little bit earlier, who went to the Mariners. But at the same time, Liam Doyle has more ace level upside than Cade Anderson as well. And I think that's what we've been searching for with the Cardinals organization. We haven't had an arm like this in a long, long time.
Can you guys talk a little bit about, I've heard throughout the process a lot, and again, with all these guys, there's potential they never make it past low A, but I feel like Liam Doyle, the reliever risk side of things has been pointing to him a lot. And so for the casual person listening who doesn't understand why someone with the big fastball and some of the other stuff might project in that direction, if things don't work out to the 90th, 95th percentile outcome, but why would there be some reliever risk with an arm like Doyle?
Is there really? I mean, maybe with injury concern, arm action, but the reliever risk really comes with his high ceiling. Like if he's put in the bullpen, if he can't start more than 3 innings, you're gonna get a high profile reliever to me. Fastball splitter. So I think that's where it comes in. I don't really see the reliever risk that much.
I think there's some violence in his delivery, and I think people look at that and say, that's not going to hold up as a starter. And then when you look at some of his numbers at the start of the year, as I talked about earlier, the velocity wasn't sustaining at that 95, 96 earlier in the season. But as the season progressed, he did a much better job of that. He showed better feel for his secondaries. So is there still some reliever risk? I mean, sure. But I think especially the pitcher that we saw at the end of the year, I think that's someone that has more pitch ability than he's given credit for as well.
Yeah, just to throw in my thoughts, I think that there's this really easy thing we do with anybody who throws hard and throws. The thing about Doyle is there's violence in his delivery, but it's all body. It's not arm. It's not arm violence. It's body violence, and I think that bodes well. But whenever you talk about anybody who throws with high velocity, who really only has 2 defined pitches, I think that's like reliever risk. But for real, you could look at any one of these pitchers that are in this draft and say reliever risk, but also not have the high upside of reliever risk that he has. Like Cade Anderson might have reliever risk, but it's not the high upside Liam Doyle has. Jamie Arnold too. I would say maybe Witherspoon's the only one who doesn't have reliever risk, and that's mostly because he's a varying pitch type starter. So that also hurts his ability to be a reliever in the long run. So I think you could talk about reliever risk with every starting pitcher in the draft, regardless of prep or collegiate. I think what you're talking about with Liam Doyle is high upside reliever risk, and I'll take that.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah.
Just real quick, just a reminder as you're tuning in now, it's a fun stream so far. Like and subscribe helps channel a ton. We're doing a giveaway on our Twitter of a Ivan Herrera signed rookie card, graded 10 PSA. I don't know any of that stuff, but Andrew knows that. Apparently, it's very valuable. Giving that away on the Twitter if you like and retweet over there, and also give a proof of subscription. That's another entry into the giveaway. I guess another side of this too, guys, you guys talked a little bit about how the Cardinals have developing pitchers. And even this last year, I mean, we're at the midway season of technically year 1.5 of Bloom's influence, but really year 1 of his first year as like the announced Pobo and waiting, I guess. But have you seen anything, whether it's historically from the Cardinals in developing pitching talent, or I guess this year specifically in some of the stuff they've done with their pitchers, that gives you confidence that they could get their hands on Liam Doyle and strive toward that upside? Again, it doesn't guarantee anything that he's going to be some future ace or future frontline starter, whatever that definition is. But what potentially gives you optimism that besides even his talent alone, but what the Cardinals could do with their hands on him?
I think.
I guess you can go, Peyton.
I think more. Yeah, sorry. I think more staff being available. knowing like the direction that you want to go in. There's more clarity in terms of, hey, we need to be better at this. They've gone with VAA in the past, and that's something that I think is important, especially with fastball shape, and knowing their release traits, because they've gone low slot, low velo in the past. So I think there's more getting recognition of how fastball should be shaped in the organization, and now it's just applying it to all arm slots. Doyle's a bit different in terms of his arm slot, his shape. He's more of a ride guy who's going to rely on induced vertical break, and the VA is going to play either way. It's still a flat fastball, but it's more velo to it. Like if they fail with it, hey, you just get a Ryan Helsley from the left side. But I think there's more recognition in terms of, hey, how do we shape this? How can we play this off of a splitter? There's no player in the organization with splitters. I think they're like one of the 2 organizations that don't have a major league pitcher with a splitter in their arsenal. So I just think more staff and outside voices are really going to help with this pick.
I think what we've seen is they've done a great job at rounding out a pitcher's arsenal. Whether you look at someone like an Eshawn Henderson, east-west kind of guy, fastball gets run, has a sweeper, added a cutter. Similar thing with Matt Swanson, east-west guy, sweeper, sinker, added a cutter. So, I mean, from that sense, I think they've done a much better job at just figuring out what pitch a pitcher needs for their arsenal to play, as well as just optimizing their arsenal. Some guys have better secondary pitches that need to be thrown more than their fastball. And I think we're seeing that more than just running the course with, throwing your fastball the highest percentage, if that's not your best pitch,
For me, on a very rudimentary level, you might look at Quinn Matthews and say that he's taken a step back. But other than that, organization-wide, all of their pitchers have taken steps forward this year. Mount, Henderson, Pete Hansen. Can we talk about that? But not like Cade Winquist, all of these guys have taken steps forward this year as the Cardinals have worked to optimize their pitching pipeline. And that's why, pitching data aside and pitch selection aside, it's all one thing working together. I have faith that this is the right guy for the Cardinals. Also, we know that the player development staff and the scouting staff is working in unison, communicating better than they ever have. In a way that they haven't in years. And I think that lends itself to, hey, this wasn't just a pick of the scouting staff. This was a pick of both the scouting staff and the development staff to optimize the pick. And I think when you couple that with the fact that the Cardinals are having success minors wide with all of their homegrown talent, optimizing it, I think that you have to give them a chance to prove themselves wrong here.
Yeah. Sandy, this seems like the next guy you're going to start glazing here soon. So tell us more about your hype behind Liam Doyle, and hopefully he doesn't become your next John King. Hopefully he's a starter for you, but
I'm happy with John King just for the fun of it. But yeah, this is super exciting. I mean, I'm going to pair it with some other people said here. It's just a high upside pick, and it's nice to see the Cardinals go that direction. I think he's a more exciting pick over a Jamie Arnold. I really do love the ceiling that Reis, Peyton, and Kyle have talked about. That's awesome stuff. And yeah, maybe there is more risk than there would have been with another guy. But it's good to see really Bloom taking over some decision-making here and going another direction. I'm really interested to see how this impacts the Cardinals later in the draft. They continue to target these potential, high ceiling, maybe a bit of reliever risk guys later on. Are they interested in strikeout stuff, not looking for as much pitchability? Again, Liam Doyle at 5 overall, you're not really picking and choosing. He's got all these things. That's why he's getting drafted in the top 5. These guys later on, it'll be interesting to see the profile of the Cards target. I'm just really excited about this. I'm excited to see, a lefty with a lot of hype coming through the system. It's going to be great. I do wonder, and this is a great question for Reis, Peyton, or Kyle, whoever wants to answer, where do you guys think this guy starts out in the Cardinal system? Do you think you're going to be really aggressive, or do some lower pressure things lower down? Where do you think he'll be? Let's go with Kyle first.
Oh, I don't think we'll see him this year. I think that's the key, right? He had through 95 innings this year in major collegiate. I don't think we'll see him this year, not unless there's a big change over prior years. We'll wait. We'll see how he develops, see how he enters spring. And then, I would suspect that they'll be just as aggressive with him as they were with JJ Weatherholt. There's no reason to think that if he's taking to whatever third pitch they're offering him, and they have him work on this offseason, that he won't be at Springfield to start the 2025. Or wait, what year is this? The 2026 minor league season.
Yeah, I'm with Kyle here.
Is that where you're leaning as well?
I don't expect him to pitch at the end of the year, but hey, maybe he gets like an inning or two at the complex or something. But I think more than likely we're looking at a 2026 debut. And as Kyle said, I think this is someone that you could really fast track. I wouldn't be surprised if he's pitching, in Springfield at the start of the season. Might get a cup of coffee at Peoria just to see, how he is at that level. But I think this is someone that probably could hold his own at the AA level just right now. So it wouldn't be a shocker to me to see him start off at that level next year.
Yeah, I would. Send him to Florida for a vacation. If you want to have him work out there, but not have him pitch an inning. I think he made the steps this year that you want to see him make anyways on a developmental level. I just sent something out on X, that's Twitter. But the fastball velo increased each month. It started out 92 in the winter. In June it was 97. In May it was 97. Actually in June it was 97.5. So those are the steps that you would have wanted to see anyways. So just put him on a strength program until the spring starts, and then you go from there. I think honestly he starts in AA. If he's advanced enough with splitter fastball work well enough, you can start him in AAA, but I think you're going to need some work on the slider. So you might see him start in AA. He'll eat up in Peoria. I don't think anyone hits in that park anyways. I've seen too many ball games there this past year. No one hits here.
Kyle, I'm curious for you, looking at Doyle specifically, where do you think he stacks up? If this was last year's class, where do you think he would have landed, I guess, in what kind of range talent-wise? Would he have been a top 10 pick last year, top 15 pick? It feels like people are lower on this class in general, but how, I don't know, not to diminish too much here, but is this the same kind of caliber as a Chase Burns, or is this a step below that, as a prospect?
I think if you're talking about a draft prospect, I've been quick to say that the two draft prospects in this year's draft that I think would fit in the top 10 from last year are probably Hernandez and Holiday. Okay. But maybe I'm just caught up in the moment, but I do think Doyle, because of the fastball and the splitter and the strikeout rate and being able to get away with what he can get away with his fastball, he probably would have been a top 15 pick. If you would have put him in that class, probably not Chase Burns. I think we all knew that Chase Burns was a little something different. But I do think that he would have been a consensus top 15 pick, and some team probably would have pulled the trigger in the 5 to 10 range on him more than likely. You think about that draft, how that draft ended up going. Jack Cag was going to go 6. Regardless if Liam Doyle was available. JJ Weatherholt was going to go 7 regardless. Connor Griffin was going to go to the Pirates. So it's just where would he fit in? And I do think maybe top 10, top 15. He's one of the 3 or 4 from this draft that would go, in my opinion, in the top 15. And
I guess playing off that a little bit here, curious, talent-wise, where does he stack up in terms of pitching prospects the Cardinals have had? It feels like we're talking about potentially he's the most talented guy to enter the system again. Doesn't mean by the time he's fully fledged as a prospect, he's the most talented arm to be debut in St. Louis. But what kind of arm are we talking about here that talent wise, pitch mix wise, stacks up with the Liam Doyle entering the system? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way for me. I think the easiest parallel to draw is Michael Wacha. Michael Wacha, when he entered the organization, he was a 2-pitch pitcher. The fastball was kind of questionable at that, but it was a fastball changeup, and he had the best changeup in the draft. And I think that if you're talking about Liam Doyle with the best fastball in the draft, Gage Wood, others included, he's definitely in the top tier. He also has probably the best splitter in the draft, if not that, one of the other. And the splitter is just a fancy changeup when you really think about it. It's a lot more complicated than that, of course. But so that's all just to say that, I think he's probably on par with Michael Wacha, with maybe a little step over what Michael Wacha had from a third offering, especially with the way that this organization helps develop cutters and sliders. So, as far as like if you were to insert him into a Cardinals top 10 prospect list right now, with Quinn Matthews scuffling and, he's definitely a top 5 prospect, and you'd be smart probably to put him 2 behind JJ Weatherholt, just because first off, pitching is so volatile in the first place, but also because he just has tools that, that fastball is something else. It's just something else. We haven't had that. All I've done is bitch and whine, pardon my language, for years about how bad the Cardinals fastballs are in the organization. And here we have the best one that we've had in 154 years.
Kareem, would you agree with that? Like best, or like, I guess since Waka, this is probably most exciting or high upside potential arm there.
I think Alex Reyes, just in terms of pitching prospects, as far as just the ceiling, it's been a while since the Cardinals have just had a pitching prospect with this sort of ceiling, like a Liam Doyle, who I think can be a potential front of the rotation starter. I don't think we should set those sort of expectations, but is there the pathway to him potentially being that in the future? I think so. So, I mean, I'll have him slated as my second ranked prospect in the system once I re-rank for midseason. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about a guy that has one of the best fastballs. He's going to have one of the best fastballs in minor league baseball as soon as he, steps foot. And with that, I mean, there's going to be a lot of swing and miss. I think the splitter is good and should, play off of it on a vertical plane. He's got that fastball 19, 20 inches of vert. The splitter, it's close to 0. So, I mean, the differential in vertical break between the fastball and splitter with not that huge of a velocity downturn, I think that's just it'll be fun to watch that 2-pitch combo and how they play with each other. And something that's interesting about Doyle, he will use that splitter against left-handed bats. It's not just, most changeups are just used against opposite-handed hitters. Doyle will throw that pitch against lefties, which is interesting. And I think as he continues to develop more feel for it, I think we'll continue to see the usage get higher. And yeah, I think he's a really fun arm, and can't wait to watch his career unfold. I think the Cardinals made a great pick here.
Kareem, there's a lot of and because people are joining in late in the chat too. There's people who are confused and think you might be disappointed by this pick because you were thinking it was Arnold. You don't sound disappointed at all by Liam Doyle, though.
I just didn't expect the Cardinals to go in that direction, and I didn't foresee him being available as well. So it's more so I'm just a little bit shocked that this is the selection, because I thought that Jamie Arnold was just a better organization fit, but I have a higher grade on Liam Doyle than Jamie Arnold. So, and like, I'm not just saying that because the Cardinals picked him. You can go back and watch our college pitchers episode. I mean, I'm as high on Liam Doyle as anyone. And I do think the Cardinals made a good pick. I'm not just saying this after the fact. Like, I truly believe they made a good pick.
Yeah. Kyle, I'm curious. You brought up a little bit earlier just some of the steps forward that different arms in the system have taken so far. And we asked you a little bit ago about how that could potentially fare with Doyle, but I don't know. We don't have you the whole night. So I'm curious, just as you look at the Cardinal system right now, we are halfway through the year right now. And I remember when you came on before the season, you were talking about, and again, there's still many years ahead of us to see what this new regime looks like. But this was about the benchmark where I think you had said we might be able to start taking some kind of feedback from this to look at it. What's been your vibe so far about what the new regime has looked like so far and what this has done for player development on the pitching side, but you can also talk about the hitters as well.
Are you trying to get rid of me?
No, I thought you're only on for 30. We'll take you for however long we can.
No. So I think that I think the first thing that we see is optimization of what works for pitchers. And I think that there's a plan in place for pitchers, not only to optimize what they have, but to gain a third pitch. I think we've seen a lot of pitchers change shapes of fastballs. I think about Tekoa Roby in particular, who now is throwing a fastball that is actionable against righties, which is something that he hasn't really had. So I just think that, and we've heard Rob Serfolio talk about it. He talked about it with you guys in that great interview. We've heard him talk, but it's all about having a plan in place and communicating that plan to the players, letting the players know, even at the minor league level, that they have a say in how they're going to develop and what they're going to develop, and then working to make it actionable. And that is not something that the Cardinals have had. It's one of the things that I've been so loud and so critical of for years now. I mean, for years, this has been the one thing. Like, players don't know what their focus is going to be. They're, in past years, it was, we don't know what our focus is going to be. We don't know what we're working towards. I guess we're just going to continue to keep doing what we're doing. And now it's like, no, this is what you're going to do. And it's not just players who buoy back and forth between the majors and the minors, the players at the majors. It's all levels of the minors. And to me, that is the big thing, the big change that we've seen. And again, I have not been able to watch minor league baseball the way that I normally do. My life has been turned upside down because of certain things, and that's just how life works. But because of that, I haven't been able to watch as normally as I do. And these things are very prevalent when I do get to watch. And I think, the loudness of these changes, these optimizations speak volumes in such a small sample as compared to past years for me.
Wow. That's really encouraging here. I guess, again, to hone in a little bit more on the I guess, is there a good example or two you could pull out from the minor leagues of different players that you think of the player they were in 2024 and what you've seen in 2025 that could be a tangible example for someone to hear about? You mentioned like Motts earlier or Pete Hansen or guys like that.
Well, yeah, I think our good friend Kareem there, I think he kind of, like at the beginning of the season, he noticed it right away. Bryson Mounts is throwing a cutter, and he's had increased velocity. And those are the kind of things that will make him a reliever at the major league level, if not more than that. Those, the slider cutter combo. We talked about it a little bit with Tekoa Roby. Changing how he grips his fastball, getting into a little bit different shape of his fastball, and then the way that all of the stuff works off of the fastball, and then throwing a slider to lefties, it's little things like that. Now Quinn Matthews is a whole different beast. He's working to optimize his stuff on the outside of the zone. At AAA, and that's kind of been a little bit tough. What kind of cookies are you eating?
Trump cookies, bro. My mom made them. So good.
Oh my God, they look delicious.
Yeah,
you picked them up for 1 second, and I was like, how am I supposed to talk about pitchers in this organization?
I needed a snack. Got to power through.
Oh my God, I'm drinking an old fashioned. That's I'm actually drinking a Stag, and I made an old fashioned.
I've got a spotted cow.
Oh, you
Oh,
should.
wow. I'm not fancy. I have a Smirnoff next to me.
Do you? What kind of Smirnoff?
Pink lemonade.
What is happening?
Oh, good for you, Peyton. God, I respect everybody. I know Kareem's drinking sparkling water, probably. No disrespect. I love a good sparkling water.
No, he probably LaCroix.
Yeah, Kareem's got me on mute right now. I know it. I can tell. Kareem's like, this moron, man. So that's it. I think that like Cade Winquist is one that comes to mind. They're just letting him throw his two best pitches over and over again, and that's it. They're working with the players, and that's obvious. And that I don't know how I'm gonna go the rest of the night without chocolate chip cookies.
You might go snag some. Kareem, anything you'd add to that?
No, I'm with Kyle. I think it's awesome to see the Cardinals put an emphasis on more modern pitching development. It's been a problem, the past decade, and it's going to be exciting to see, how all these pitching prospects end up, developing, and Liam Doyle as that top ranked pitcher now. It'll be fun to watch. There's so many interesting arms throughout the system. It's not limited to just Quinn Matthews. You look at a Cooper Jerpy, who I'm higher on than most. I think that there's more upside in there than I think people give credit. And, fingers crossed the Cardinals protect him for the Rule 5 draft. I think he's one of their top pitching prospects in the organization. Tekoa Roby is having a solid, turnaround at the AAA level. We talk about guys that are adding pitches. He's added a two-seamer this year. He's reworked his changeup into a kick change, which is the specs on the pitch are a lot better than the previous changeup that he threw. Still finding feel for it, but it's just awesome to watch all these guys, continue to evolve their games. You look at someone like a Tink Hence, who some of the extension might be down from 2022, but they're really working on him getting back to that lower release. So a lot of fun arms. Dude, a guy like Chen Wei Lin.
All right, is Kareem and Kyle in here too? My connection's going crazy.
Sandy, I'm gonna mute you. You're calling out, man. I don't know what's happening here.
A guy like Chen Wei Lin, who has some of the hardest. He's one of the hardest throwers in the system. 96, 97 miles an hour. Might not be the best shape, but a guy that has a plus changeup. The control has stepped back a little bit this year, but hopefully he can get back on track. I still think that he's an interesting arm. So I mean, throughout the system, there's a lot of fun names, and Liam Doyle is going to add to that for sure.
And if it's okay, I want to bounce off of that. I think like we look at stuff models all the time. We use that as a Bible sometimes for some reason. But like you really want pitchers to learn how to like use their stuff when they don't have it. Like you're seeing a lot of pitchers like Takao Roby when he walks 3 batters in the inning. Can you get that feel for the kick change 3-0? Can you get it 3-1? Can you get it over the plate just once and get into a competitive count? And that's a lot of what I think we're seeing with Cardinals pitching right now. Like with Liberatore right now, you say, can you get that fastball just over the plate at 94 miles per hour just once so you can get to the slider, the cutter, the bridge against right-handed bats. So you really want pitchers that can be able to feel when like they're losing it, but like can you get that one pitch that gets you back into the game? And that's kind of a goal you want to see. And you might see that with the splitter and the slider with Doyle, but you want repetition on that. Don't worry about how the stuff is playing. That's going to fluctuate from time to time. You want to get to those locations. You want to get to those competitive spots in the game. So I think that's something the Cardinals are really doing well. You're seeing it with Lynn. You're really seeing it with Hintz right now. The pitchability is much better than it was 2 years ago, even though the stuff might not be there 100% of the time. And it's going to get there because we know Hintz has that skill, that talent. And the release is going to get back there. So you really want pitchers that have feel for their pitches and know how to get to those spots really well. And that's something you're going to see the Cardinals start going to. And I think the whiffs are going to get there. Whiffs are important. Strikeouts are king. But it's how you get there. It's the process of getting there. Can you limit slug while you don't get whiffs? It's kind of the model we're really seeing.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, as that's such a great point. And I've had a lot of people, and I think Kareem can probably attest to this too, ask me like, what's gone wrong with Michael McGreevy? And I spent a little time like diving into his stats. And another thing the Cardinals weren't doing back in the old regime, at least at the end, is they weren't testing those pitches. Like we saw McGreevy come up and have a little bit of trouble against the Cubs. And instead of relying at AAA on that sweeper of his and then the cutter a little bit, but relying on that sweeper of his to get out of innings, he hasn't been doing that. He's been using the rest of his arsenal to try to get out innings, to try to figure out the feel for those pitches instead of relying on that. Because at the major league level, they'll start to catch on to that sweeper regardless of how good it is. And they're testing it. You know, another big complaint I've had with the organization, how it used to be, is that, like, I remember one time years ago at this point, Ryan Helsley was pitching at AA. It was a start, and he only threw curveballs and changeups to start. He threw it was a 100-pitch start. He threw 15 fastballs, 15 sliders, and 60 or whatever it was changeups and curveballs. And it was all about trying to get him reps, trying to get him feel. And they used to do stuff like that, and then they stopped doing it. And now I feel like we're starting to see the organization get back to that, how to optimize what they have. How to optimize what they have that might not be their premier stuff. And that is so important. And I think that's part of why so many of the pitchers in the organization have fizzled out rather at the major league level.
Yeah. Oh, one more point. Sorry. Yeah. And, to go off of Kyle, secondaries, you might see 130 stuff plus, but not every batter is going to, whiff on that pitch. Some batters are better against certain angle pitches than others. So do you have a pitch that can get out an advanced hitter? Can you get to the cutter just so you can throw off the hitter on that slider? Matt Swanson, for example, the stuff is amazing. But the fastball isn't great, and the sinker might not work against certain hitters, but he has that cutter to bridge it. I know Kareem doesn't like it as much. I'm a little higher in Swanson just because he's able to limit that contact because he knows how to just use the cutter sometimes and then get to the sweeper, back door, front door, however it may be. So just to optimize those pitches and to use them maybe 10% of the time is something that's really key for a pitcher rather than using them 0% of the time. They're not even on the scouting report. It's something you want hitters to be aware of, just so you can get away with maybe using it once or twice in an outing.
Yeah. Hey, so we'll continue to talk to this because I think it's really interesting to also bring up the point here in a second. Maybe we'll go to it in a second, but the Cardinals have more picks tonight, and they have more picks than they've had in recent years. And if you're talking about refortifying a system here, beyond the 5th overall pick tonight, there is a lot more important stuff at play here beyond even just getting Doyle tonight. So if you're tuning in, we'd love to continue having this conversation with you tonight. Again, like and subscribe helps channel a ton. It's been a super fun stream so far. We're very thankful for Peyton, Kyle being on with us today. Also want to give a huge plug to 314 Sports Cards Collectibles, our presenting sponsor, and they're awesome, and you should go check them out. So continue on with this, I was just alluding to, but the Cardinals have 4 picks in the top 100. They were without a second-round pick in the previous 2 drafts due to signing Will Contreras and Sonny Gray. And you talk about a system that, I mean, I don't know if we want to do system grades today or anything, but I guess there's just been some general discontentment about the Cardinals farm system in recent years. And you have this new regime coming in with a competitive balance pick, as well as that second round pick that they've missed in recent years. Kyle, like, how important could this draft be for helping to, I guess, set them up for, obviously a lot of these picks aren't going to make an impact on the major league club in 2026, but you're talking about 2027, 28, 29, 2030 and beyond. How important is it to nail this draft and to really set themselves up for success here?
I think it could be a really fun draft. I don't want to say that this could be a table turning type draft for them.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's fair, especially in this draft, because really the strength of this draft, as everybody said, is a combination of prep infielders and collegiate arms. And really, when you get past like the top 35 rated prospect, it's really prep infielders, and that lends itself to time, right? Development time. So I just think that with the right amount of patience, we're talking about, and of course, hoping that a lockout doesn't happen after the 2026 season, lockout and the strike, which is a whole nother option, a whole nother thing. But I think that what this does is it gives the Cardinals a chance for the first time in forever, since 2016 maybe, where they had a surplus of picks early on, to stock the organization how they see best, how best fits their desires. And what it does is it also refuels a little bit of the excitement for the pipeline, when the pipeline is kind of, Kareem said, kind of like in a middling organization, kind of in the middle areas. So that, I think that's what it does more than anything. And again, guys, I do not want to overstay my welcome. If you feel,
it's great.
I would gladly just, if there's a fade button and you just want to fade me out at some point, feel free to do it. I'm fine with that. I think my brother's making a flatbread.
Okay, well, I guess you kind of previewed it a little bit already, but before you head out, can you give us just a little bit more? So the high school prep shortstops is something that you potentially be looking at here. Anything else you'd just be, like, a lot of fans, this might be the first time they ever tune into an MLB draft. So setting kind of expectations for what this looks like compared to the NFL draft and NBA, where you're like, oh man, this can be the starting corner on week 1. It's a very different experience, right?
Yeah. Just remember, fans, or just get to know that Major League Baseball draft is different. You're talking about teenagers, high school prep players, collegiate players, all melded into one pot. Players kind of engineering how much money they're willing to accept in order to be drafted at a certain spot. A lot of times, this is the only draft in sports where the player kind of has a say in where they go. So, while you might see 55, the Cardinals drafting 55th overall, and they might have a clear number, this is our guy at 55, the numbers might not actually work out. So they might have to go to the guy that they can make the number work with. We don't know what Liam Doyle is accepting as a bonus. It might be slot. It'll probably be under, usually with the first couple picks, the first 5 to 7 picks in the draft, it's almost always under, even if it's by a little bit. So it's all about that. I do think what we'll see, and what we've seen the Cardinals do in the past, is they save money, and then in the 5th or 6th or 7th round, they'll find a collegiate arm that they really like, and they'll target that at an advanced number. Dukanich, Alec Willis, a prep arm, they'll target that. But I do think what we'll see with either 55, 72, or 89 is we will see them take advantage of the prep class of one of the kids who have fallen. Now, if they had a comp A pick between 35 and 40, you'd be maybe a little bit more excited about this. But I do think someone will fall to them, probably at 55, who they'll be able to sign and give a probably an extended $500,000 bonus too, over what the slot is for 55. And that'll be really exciting. But I do want to point out, and before I leave, I would love to get everybody's thoughts on how the draft has gone so far, because I think that plays into my answer to your question, Josh, because we've seen, again, like I thought Steele Hall would go early, and he has, and Gavin Fine has gone early, and it brings the point that like this is a prep heavy draft, and I think we're going to see a lot of prep players go early and push a lot of collegiate players down the board a little bit. So what I would like to do is I would like to say I love everyone and thank you for the booze, even though I made this myself. Peyton, thank you for the Caribbean cruise that I just booked. I don't even know how that happened.
Yeah, of course.
But thanks for having me on, guys, and I can't wait to hear your answers.
Thanks, Kyle. Really appreciate you being on, man.
Thank you so much, Kyle.
Hey, I love you guys. You're the best.
Much
You're
love,
the
Kyle.
best, actually.
Oh my goodness.